Hey everybody, you made it. Welcome to the 4 Rules of Gun Safety. I know your time is valuable. Thanks for watching this. Let's jump right into it. First rule of gun safety. Every gun is always loaded. Notice I didn't say treat every gun like it's loaded or act like every gun is loaded. It's not the same thing. Every gun is always loaded until you personally deem it to be unloaded. Let me give you an example. You go over to your buddy's house who's into guns, you're all into guns, go over there, you're hanging out looking at guns, talking about guns, whatever. Your buddy hands you a firearm and says it's clear. It is still your responsibility to check that firearm to make sure that it is unloaded. So, what do? You point it in a safe direction, you check to see if there's a magazine in it, you open the action to make sure there's nothing in the chamber, nothing on the breech face, and you make sure that the gun is unloaded and clear. Then you can look at the sights, check out the trigger, play with the magazine, do whatever you want to do. But you have to determine yourself that that firearm is unloaded. Never take anyone's information in regards to the condition of a firearm. I don't care who it is. Somebody hands you a firearm and tells you it's unloaded, you are still responsible to make sure that that firearm is safe. Because if you make a mistake with that gun, you, not your friend, you're going to be held accountable for that. So, every gun is always loaded. Okay. Rule number 2. Never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. Okay. This is a rule that is constantly violated in places like gun stores and shooting ranges. Let me give you an example. So you're at your local gun store and the guy behind the counter hands a guy a shotgun. Okay? And he's checking it out and he starts waving it around and doing all that. And he's like, hey, whoa, hey, careful where you point that thing. But give someone a handgun, and because they're small and they're portable, people don't really realize that they're being flagged by the muzzle of the gun. Okay? So, if you think about it, you have to become muzzle aware. Your muzzle discipline has to be right off the charts. Because if a mistake is made with that firearm, whatever comes out of that muzzle will destroy whatever it hits. So, never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. If you're not willing to punch a hole in it, shoot it, blow it up, do whatever, do not let the muzzle cover that object or person. Okay. Rule number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. Now, you can go to indoor ranges, public ranges, watch YouTube. There are a plethora of videos out there of people handling loaded or hot guns with their finger on the trigger and the gun's pointed at their feet, or the gun's pointed up in the air, or the gun is anywhere except on a target being shot. So this is a rule that's continuously violated as well, and you need to be cognizant of that fact. Another example. So you are a homeowner, okay? You hear a bump, a crash, a bang in the middle of the night, and you grab whatever it is you count on to defend yourself or your family, and you get up and you go walking around taking a look. Now, okay, so you may have something going on, but does your finger need to be on the trigger? No. Do you have your sights on a target or a threat? No. You may, but until then, keep your finger off the trigger. For handguns, rifles, shotguns, carbines, whatever it is, anytime the finger is out of the trigger guard and resting along the frame, that is the registered position to keep your trigger finger when your sights are not on the target. So if you're drawing your gun, your finger doesn't go into the trigger guard and make contact with the trigger until your sights are starting to come on the target. All right? So if you're running around the house investigating a bump in the night, you don't have any business having your finger on the trigger unless something does happen. Okay? So let's just be aware of that. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the threat or the target or the water heater you're shooting at in the desert, whatever it may be. Okay? All right. Rule number 4, be sure of your target and beyond. So, you're shooting out in the desert, you're shooting out in the woods, you're whatever you want to do that you do for shooting. You need to be aware and sure of what it is that you are shooting at. You also need to be aware of the fact that your bullet could go through whatever it is that you're shooting, and you need to know what is behind that. So that is the and beyond. Is it a backstop? Is it a hill? Is it a bunch of thick trees? What is it? It's got to be something that's going to stop a bullet. Okay. Now, the other part of that is you also need to be aware of what could run in between you and the target. So let's say you're out and you're shooting a rifle and you're at 100 yards at your favorite spot. What happens if a hiker comes walking by? What happens if a guy on a quad goes racing by? Whatever. You need to be sure and know what's on the side of that and what may intervene in between you and your target. So, be sure of your target and beyond. What's alongside of it, what's behind it, all of that. And I'll give you this. You also need to be able to positively identify what it is that you are shooting at. All right? We never shoot at shapes. We don't shoot at shadows. And we do not shoot at noise. If you cannot positively identify what it is that you are shooting, do not shoot it. So, that's the 4 rules of gun safety. And as a quote from one of my favorite movies of the 80s, learn it, know it, live it. I'm Byron. I appreciate you stopping by. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, thanks for watching.